danger in the world is if Esav and Yishmael ever came together, if they ever united. It says the Gemara, if Edom and Yishmael ever united, they would destroy the world. You can never mix Kayin and Hevel together. And that's what we wish both of these Umayis in their war against each other. Bracha v'hatzlacha. My message to both of them is we wish both of them tremendous hatzlacha. They should wipe each other out. None of it should be said. Both sides should mamish be matzliach as much as possible. We wish both sides tremendous hatzlacha in their avodah of wiping out the other.
You will find there an extraordinary information. There will be two big buildings in the land of Edom, which today we relate the word Edom to America. And those are the biggest, the tallest buildings in the world, and they will be brought down completely, and that will be the sign of the beginning of tremendous wars that will end only in the coming of the Mashiach. 1 week before, one of the great rabbis in Israel, Hasidic rabbi, he came with some people, some of his disciples in the car, and they were coming towards the evening. He didn't want to lose the time of Mincha, the prayer of the afternoon. He said, please, can you stop right here? I want to daven, I want to pray Mincha here. They prayed Mincha with Minyan in front of everybody passing in Manhattan. Where? Right there, near the World Center. After he finished the davening, the prayer, he said, say bye-bye to those buildings because you are not going to see them no more. Say bye-bye to those buildings because you are not going to see them no more.
This keeps going on. I'm warning that there's going to be a false flag attack. Another 9/11 that's going to unite the people to support this war. It's going to happen in Europe. It's going to happen in America. And you're seeing all the stuff, the anti-Muslim, anti-Islamic stuff coming out. Get ready for the 9th crusade. That's what they're going to turn it into, and the people will buy it. Watch out for the false flag. That's my greatest concern. They did it before. They'll do it again. Little Georgie Bush was way down in the polls. The NASDAQ was down 80%, lost its value after the dot-com bust. 9/11 happened. 90% of the people swallowed the crap, spewing out of that little boy's mouth. We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden dead or alive. Longest war in American history, the Afghan war.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Iran is hammering the Israeli regime in retaliation for its atrocities and its unprovoked war, and is hammering U.S. positions across the Persian Gulf region. There's been no let-up in Iranian responses, and that is because Iranian missile and drone bases are all deep underground and inaccessible to the United States and the Israeli regime. Iran has not taken any responsibility for the strikes on the energy facilities, for example, in Saudi Arabia. That could be something carried out by the Israeli regime. These Arab regimes in the Persian Gulf, when they give the United States military bases to use against Iran, then there are consequences. They cannot have their cake and eat it too. They cannot participate in aggression against Iran alongside this Epstein coalition and then sit back and say we're neutral. Iran has been targeting U.S. assets in the Persian Gulf, and those assets could be anything that's linked to the United States. The United States is bombing hospitals. The United States is bombing schools. The United States is bombing Iranian national radio and television alongside the Israeli regime. So U.S. assets in the Persian Gulf, they too will be attacked. But assets that belong to the states in the Persian Gulf region, they have not been touched by the Iranians. However, if they host U.S. forces because many of the soldiers have left their bases and been taken to hotels. The Iranians will target them. So at the end of the day, if they want this problem to end, they have to expel soldiers of the Epstein regime. Iran is not interested in negotiating with Trump or the US regime. Iran is going to punish the United States, and we are in the process of doing it. This regime in Washington has tried to cross a bridge that's a bridge too far, and they're messing with the wrong country. We're not Venezuela, we're not Iraq, we're not Libya, we're not Afghanistan, and we're not Syria. This is the Islamic Republic of Iran, and we will make sure that the United States regrets the aggression against the Iranian people and the slaughter of children and the slaughter of innocent civilians and the murder of the leader. These are crimes against humanity, and the United States and its allies have imposed the law of the jungle upon the world, and they will come to regret it. Iran will defeat the United States. Time will tell. And our drones that are being fired are very old drones. Our missiles that are being fired are very old missiles. They're very inexpensive. And Americans are using up very expensive air defense systems. The Iranians know exactly what they're doing. We haven't even begun using our latest technology, and most of Iran's underground bases have not even been used yet. They have not even been opened up for operation. Iranians have been planning for this day ever since the invasion of Iraq. They knew that at some point the Epstein regime will go after Iranians, and therefore they've been preparing themselves for many years. We are fighting for our homeland and our sovereignty and our independence, and our crime is that we oppose the genocide that the British regime and the American regime and Western regimes have been supporting. And we are on the right side of history, and the United States is the aggressor, and we will punish the aggressor and make it regret its crimes against humanity. This war was supposed to end in a day or two. The 12-day war was supposed to bring Iran down like a house of cards. That failed, this failed, and now the United States will have to pay the price. And if the United States escalates, that will mean that the most sensitive region in the world, the Persian Gulf, where a quarter of the world's energy comes from, everything could be destroyed. And if that happens, it doesn't even matter if the Strait of Hormuz is open or closed, because there will be no oil or gas, and there will be no tankers. For Iran, this is a fight for survival. For the United States, this is a war of choice, a choice that has been imposed upon the American people by the Epstein class. We will expel the United States from our homeland, and we'll make sure that the United States never again thinks about aggression against our country.
And let's clear up that any civilian targets that were hit in any of the Arab countries was directly from Israel and the implanted Mossad, as documented by many on the ground in those respective countries. What the US and Israel didn't realize with their preemptive strikes was that the Supreme Leader Khamenei was the nice one. He made it clear that by Islamic decree, he would never make a nuclear weapon. And we all know that there were no nuclear weapons found in Iran. And we also all know that just before Israel and the US attacked Iran, Khamenei and his government had agreed to let go of all their uranium and have zero stockpiles of it moving forward. But then the US and Israel had to go and assassinate him anyway. Thus Iran throwing the red flag of revenge up and now going all in to destroy the Western imperialist empires while exposing them at the very same time in a master game of chess. And keep in mind, by killing one of the only people that refused to allow the development of nuclear weapons in Iran, and the fact that the two entities that killed him are known to have the largest stockpiles of nuclear weapons that go unchecked, Iran building nuclear weapons is now fair game. And by killing Khamenei, you have spawned successors that will be far worse to you. Successors that were already identified years in advance because Khamenei saw it all coming. And now the US and Israel are feeling their wrath. And as a result, US troops are fleeing from their posts that should have never been there in the first place out of fear because their own government doesn't give a shit about them. While corrupt Arab leaders' feelings are hurt because the US isn't helping them in their time of need. While even European countries are denying the US from using their bases, airspaces, and militaries because they don't want to fuck with Iran. Do you understand that one country just said fuck you to Israel and the United States and all of European complicity and all of Arab corruption in the region with just a few days of highly precise and strategic coordinated attacks that literally crippled all of the powers that be as we speak? And that's with Iran's weaker and older stockpile of missiles that they're throwing at all of you complicit cowards. They are crippling all of you, and Iran hasn't even used the good shit yet. Where the U.S. is running out of missiles and hemorrhaging money trying to defend the terrorist ethno-state they've shackled themselves to, where it has been reported that the U.S. spent $779 million in just the first day of the war with Iran. In fact, this video shows how one Iranian missile heading to Israel costing $250,000 is intercepted by 11 U.S. Patriot interceptors, costing the U.S. $44 million, with each interceptor costing $4 million. Yes, while this is currently the United States right now, as we speak, globally ranking among the highest in homelessness rates, one of the highest in drug abuse and addiction rates, the highest obesity rates, highest in death from cardiovascular disease, ranking last in health equity, access, and outcomes, ranking lowest in life expectancy at birth, ranking highest in death rates from avoidable and treatable conditions, ranking highest without anyone being a close second in firearm homicides, highest in incarceration rates, highest level of income inequality, the highest healthcare costs in the world, and the world's most expensive pharmaceutical industry on earth, with drug prices averaging 3 times higher than other nations, and consistently ranking among the countries with the highest grocery prices worldwide, where it all comprehensively puts every middle and lower class American in a cyclical, torturous state of poverty and depression, with the U.S. ranking highest on earth in mental health issues and the highest on earth in suicide rates. But then the U.S. goes and spends $44 million with a matter of seconds to intercept one Iranian missile, and $779 million in a day to defend Israel, sending tens of billions every year with your tax dollars to defend Israel, while the U.S. is abandoning their own U.S. military bases in Arab countries, leaving them like sitting ducks for Iran to take them down one by one in order to devote most of their resources to protecting Israel. Hey, Western news media, you reporting on any of that? No, of course not. Western media is focused on dehumanizing and demonizing Muslim Iranians while platforming and amplifying Jewish supremacist Zionist Iranians celebrating Israeli and American attacks on their own homeland.
Why do you believe the Jews were expelled from Jerusalem by the Romans?
God wanted to expel us.
Why? If God wanted you in that land, why did he expel you? What have you done? What did you do?
Between us and God.
What do you mean that's between you and God? Why were you expelled from Jerusalem?
It's irrelevant.
Previously, when you were expelled from Jerusalem, what had happened? Was there some sin?
It's irrelevant.
This is where the crux of the matter is. The land that was given to the Jews was under the condition that you serve God alone and you submit to him and you do not sacrifice your children, you do not sacrifice the false deities, and you put God first. What happened? The rabbis came, the Jewish people, they committed child sacrifice. Every time a prophet would come to them and say, stay away from child sacrifice, they killed the prophets. Then you began to take your rabbis as lords. You have in your Talmud the Tandur of Akhnai, where the rabbis said one thing and one rabbi alone said something else. The voice of heaven came down and said the truth is with that rabbi. The rabbis here said it is not in heaven, it is with us. So you believe that the rabbis have the authority to legislate law and God has no say in the matter.
Yes, we've seen many wars in the past, but I don't think I've seen a war which was launched without any clear political objective or how to get there or any sense of what the exit strategy is. Of course, the Americans and Israelis can pound Iran. They've got far superior aircraft and missiles for that. But the Iranians have responded completely predictably by spreading the war to the Gulf, to the oil and gas installations, to closing the Straits of Hormuz. They are, as it were, bringing all of us into this war because we see the price of energy spiking and a lot of uncertainty for the global economy. So this war is at a very dangerous stage. I don't see at the moment that either side really is willing or ready to de-escalate, and every day that goes past, of course, the risks grow.
How unusual is it at this point to have gone into a conflict like this without a plan, without a plan that we can see to get out of it again?
But it is, I think, completely unprecedented to launch a war of this scale when you don't know what it's about. President Trump has said all kinds of things, that it's about helping the protesters on the streets. I mean, this isn't helping them. About the nuclear program, although he'd smashed that 9 months ago. About the missile program. About Iran's use of proxies to destabilize the region. None of that can be achieved by airstrikes alone. And so at some point, the Americans are going to have to accept that they are not going to get any of these clear objectives and have to declare victory with some sort of modest success. The Israelis, I think, Mr. Netanyahu, just wants to go on smashing all Iran's military infrastructure as long as he can. He has elections this year, and I think his interest is to go into the elections saying, I dealt with the problem of Iran that we faced for the last 25 years. So I'm not sure that the two have the same objectives. And we do also have to watch the Gulf countries who've suffered a whole series of missile attacks. There is a risk that they will want to come in and start attacking Iran as well.
In my memoirs about who paid Hitler in 1933 and the years up to the Nazi Revolution. And Bruning wrote back to him. Here's the letter dated February the 7th, 1948 from the private files of the chief editor of Life magazine. Never published, and you're hearing it for the first time now. Bruning said he couldn't give Churchill permission to quote that letter because it was too painful in view of everything that happened in Germany during the Third Reich, in view, of course, of the Holocaust, to have to admit this. He says, I didn't then, and do not even today, for understandable reasons, wish to reveal that from October 1928, the two largest regular contributors to the Nazi Party were the general managers of two of the largest Berlin banks, both of the Jewish faith, and one of them the leader of Zionism in Germany.